You check your bank account. Not because a bill is due, not because you're about to buy anything, just to make sure the number is still there. It is $25,000. And even though nothing dramatic has happened, no promotion, no windfall, no lifestyle upgrade, something feels different. You're calmer. You don't tense up when an unexpected expense appears. You don't panic when the car makes a strange noise. You don't feel that constant low-level anxiety humming in the background. If you've never had that much saved, this might sound exaggerated. If you have, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Because $25,000 isn't just a savings goal, it's a threshold. And today, I want to explain why everything changes after you cross it. Not emotionally, not motivationally, but structurally. Because once you understand what actually shifts at this level, you stop chasing random milestones and start playing the right game. Many people think saving money is just about discipline, budgeting harder, or cutting small luxuries. But if you earn money, pay bills, try to save, and still feel like you're one bad month away from stress, you're not failing. You're responding to the system you're in. Here's the thing. Most people are taught that saving is linear. Save a little, then save a bit more, and life slowly improves in proportion. But that's not how money actually works. Money moves in phases. And $25,000 is one of the most important phase changes most people will ever experience. Not because it makes you rich, but because it changes your position inside the financial system. Let me challenge a common assumption right away. People think the real milestone is 6 figures, $100,000. That's wrong. For most people, the real shift happens much earlier. Because before $25,000, you are treated, quietly, as financially fragile. After it, you cross into a different category, stable, even if your income doesn't change at all. That sounds dramatic, so let's break it down. The lie we're taught about saving is simple. We're told saving is a test of character, that if you just try harder, track better, and stay disciplined, progress will naturally follow. But that story hides something important. The modern financial system punishes early savers the most. High fixed costs, normalized debt, unpredictable expenses. All of it means your first few $1,000s are constantly under attack. Here's what most people don't realize. Below a certain level of savings, every dollar you save is doing too many jobs at once. It's your emergency fund, your buffer, your insurance policy, your peace of mind, your fallback plan. That makes it fragile. At $2,000 or $5,000 saved, one expense can erase months of effort. Psychologically, that's brutal. And it's why so many disciplined people quit. Not because they're lazy, but because the system punishes them early. This is where $25,000 changes everything. Let's get concrete. Imagine your monthly expenses are $3,500. Rent or mortgage, food, transportation, insurance, utilities. At $25,000, you have roughly 7 months of full coverage. That's not just an emergency fund, that's leverage. And this is where the first major shift happens. Once you can cover 6 months or more of your life without income, your nervous system stands down. This is where it gets really interesting. Financial stress activates the same parts of the brain as physical threat. When money is tight, your thinking narrows. You become reactive. You avoid risk. You delay decisions. That's not a mindset issue. That's biology. At $25,000, that threat response quiets. You don't just feel safer, you think better. And here's what almost nobody explains. Once your nervous system calms down, the system itself starts interacting with you differently. Banks approve faster. Landlords negotiate more. Employers sense confidence. Not consciously, structurally. Before $25,000, you're treated as dependent. After it, you're treated as stable. That changes outcomes. When you don't need immediate results, you negotiate better. You wait longer. You choose instead of accept. This is why wealth often looks like confidence, and why confidence quietly creates more wealth. Before $25,000, your life is synchronized to your paycheck. Bills line up with paydays, expenses feel urgent, timing matters too much. One delay creates stress. After $25,000, that synchronization breaks. You stop living between paychecks. You start living above them. And when timing stops being life or death, the system loses leverage over you. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but I still need income. I can't live off savings. Of course, but here's the shift. Income stops being your only line of defense. You gain optionality. That means you can walk away from bad situations. You can say no more often. You can wait for better terms. That alone changes your trajectory. Let's touch the math, briefly. At $5,000 earning 5% annually, you make about $250 a year. You barely notice it. At $25,000, it's $1,250 a year. Not life-changing, but real. Here's what most people don't realize. Compounding doesn't feel real until the absolute dollars are large enough to register emotionally. Below that level, progress feels pointless. Above it, momentum becomes visible. This is the visibility threshold. People don't suddenly get smarter. They cross the point where progress finally becomes tangible. That's why they say, it suddenly got easier. There's another benefit people rarely talk about: mental bandwidth. Before $25,000, money occupies your thoughts constantly. You're running calculations all day. What if this bill hits? Should I wait until next month? What if something goes wrong? After $25,000, that background noise fades. Not completely, but enough. That mental space gets reused for better decisions, career moves, skill building, long-term planning. People often say, I didn't realize how stressed I was until it stopped. Now let's address the common question. Isn't $10,000 enough? It helps, but it doesn't change the system. At $10,000, emergencies still feel dangerous. At $25,000, they feel manageable. That difference matters, because financial confidence doesn't come from having money, it comes from survivability. $25,000 is where survivability becomes real. Here's the part almost nobody calculates. At this level, three systems flip at once. Your nervous system calms down. The financial system treats you as stable. Your decisions become less reactive. That's the real phase change. Modern life makes reaching $25,000 difficult by design. High fixed costs, debt normalization, volatile expenses. The system benefits when people stay fragile. Fragile people borrow more. Fragile people accept worse terms. Fragile people stay quiet. Crossing $25,000 quietly moves you out of that category. Not rich, but hard to break. So how do you get there? This isn't about extreme frugality. It's about structure. Separate protection from growth. Reduce volatility before chasing returns. Prioritize consistency over intensity. Protect progress aggressively near the finish line. The goal isn't speed. The goal is crossing the line. Here's the takeaway. $25,000 doesn't make you wealthy. It makes you resilient. And once you're resilient, the entire game changes. You stop asking, how do I survive? And start asking, how do I design my life? That's the real upgrade. Not more money, more control. If this helped you understand why that number matters, subscribe. This channel exists to explain the systems behind money, not to shame people for struggling inside them. Thanks for watching.